Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, Episode 8. I was actually debating whether or not to record this today, because I've just been doing so much over this week, even though we haven't gotten to many reactions. I've been putting up a bunch of videos, especially with both Monday and Tuesday recording the Nuzlocke videos and everything. It's like that took a lot out of me, and it's just I felt really tired today, honestly. I was debating whether or not I was even going to record today. In fact, for a long time, I was thinking, no, I'll just take today off. Just take a day off and get back to stuff again tomorrow. But I decided I want to at least get one thing done today. At least one. I have other videos coming outside of reactions, but I want to get at least one reaction done today. And so I decided we're going to do Digimon, since that's our kind of ongoing show and everything. So last time, we got to meet Joe, Keto, and Gomamon. And it was a good episode. It wasn't the best. Definitely, I would say it's the weakest introduction episode we've had to these characters so far. But by no means was it bad. Um, excuse me. I just think that there's been better. So now that they're crossing the sea heading towards the other continent, they're still on their way to finding the Holy Digimon, which, as you know, my theory is that the Holy Digimon is Patamon, who, as we know, digivolves into Angemon. So that's still my theory going forward with this. And if that's true, and TK is the next one to be revealed, that means that, yeah, we're probably not going to get Kari for a while, because I feel like this is what we're building up to. This is what we're building up to for this first arc, which is definitely centering around Devimon, who has been briefly shown. I think we're going to wait on Kari still for the time being, but that we're going to get TK now, which means we'll probably also have the return of Matt. That was another theory I had in the past, that once TK comes into play, Matt is going to come with him, because they're brothers. It makes sense. Now, if Patamon is not the Holy Digimon, I have no idea what is. Because at that point, it could practically be anything. So it's hard to say what's going to happen. So we'll just have to kind of find out. Now, I will say I have heard one thing about this episode, and it's not a spoiler per se, it's just an opinion piece. There's a YouTuber I watch who posts videos about the episode. And while I obviously haven't watched his video for this episode yet, I did see the title. And basically, without like any actual spoilers in it, it just says that it's the best episode so far. That it's like the best. In fact, I could actually just I have it bookmarked for after I see this episode. Yeah, it says the Digimon remake just had its best episode. That's the title of the video. So that gets me hyped, but also at the same time, as you guys know, my opinions tend to differ from a lot of people's. Just because someone else thinks it's the best episode doesn't mean I necessarily will. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm hoping so. I'm very much hoping so. But I mean, I can't confirm one way or the other if that's going to be the case, based just on what they say. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes nonetheless. And I'm hoping some of my theories are right going forward with this. And even if they're not, I'm hoping that it gives us good alternatives. Yeah, we're going to just tune in, find out where it goes, and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. So yeah, I think I would agree that this is the best episode of the reboot so far. The attack on and infiltration of this fortress was fantastically handled. Um, so it did look like Gorimon, by the way, was kind of the leader of the fortress, with Dark Tyrannomon acting as like the final lines of defense and all. But it doesn't look like there was much of anything within the fortress other than this tablet about the Holy Digimon, which means that Gorimon and them were sent there, likely by Devimon, in order to protect that information, knowing that the Chosen Ones were on their way. So Devimon, again, this is all theory, mind you, because there's no real evidence of this as of yet. This would mean that Devimon is actively trying to hinder their journey, which makes sense, obviously. We know he's been sending Ogremon and all to take care of them already, so it's like not a surprise or anything. But yeah, it's like actively trying to hinder their journey and possibly kill them if you can. I mean, it was very clear that they would have been killed here if they had gotten hit and everything. Joe, they used Joe to show a perfect example of that. That there were real, legitimate, heavy stakes. But the kids kind of utilized strategy in order to get past that, enacting various plans and taking out the various stages of enemies. It's almost hard to believe, like it was kind of the same way with the original series, but that these young kids are able to formulate this strong of a plan in order to take out these really powerful Digimon. I mean, not like the most powerful out there, but still pretty powerful Digimon. Are able to be outsmarted and everything by these kids that easily. It's almost a little funny thinking about it, but because it's Digimon, because I am used to this with the original, it doesn't bother me really. But I can see some people possibly being bothered by it if they're not as familiar with the series. So yeah, either way, I could also see some people saying that this episode is until the end was almost unimportant, but it really wasn't. Like the events of this were massively a big deal for multiple reasons. Like it's not just like, oh, like this had nothing to do with the big goals or anything. It didn't introduce any new characters, and we've already seen Matt, so it's not like it's a big deal. I mean, we kind of got introduced to Gabumon, but it's like, eh. It doesn't introduce any big new elements, some people I could see saying, but it's still a really important episode. One, they reached the continent. That was their big goal in order to find the Holy Digimon. And I'm going to ignore the last part because I think everyone will agree that the last part was important. But they reached the continent, which is their main goal. Two, this fortress, upon reaching the continent, in my eyes, proves that they're headed the right way and that they are being actively fought against to be stopped. That someone, most likely Devimon, is actively trying to stop them because the Holy Digimon is basically their, how do I put it? Their trump card. Let's put it that way. So that's a big deal in and of itself. The specific action in Digimon we did fight in here, not as important, sure, but the actual specific of the fact that this fight was happening, the fact that this fortress was here waiting for them, and everything, it's like this was very much important to the overall plot, and especially to this specific mission they're currently going through. Now, as for the end, when Ty was able to tell that the tablet in the, I'm going to call it a laboratory, was able was about the holy Digimon. I think that somehow his Digivice was giving him the ability to read it. That's kind of what the scene read to, for me. I might be wrong about that because the obviously the characters on the slab were unreadable. They were, well, in our eyes, basically gibberish. But it's like I think because the Digivice flashed and everything and it all lit up when Ty reached out to it. I think he was being given the ability to read it, so that's how he knew what it was about, and that's going to go into next episode what it says exactly on the tablet. We didn't get TK this time though, or as his Japanese name is, Takeru. We did not get him, which was actually a little bit of a surprise for me. But I had that inkling in my head that that might happen. Um, and once we were watching the episode, and I saw that there was going to be this fortress. It's like I kind of thought like, okay, either TK is going to come in at the very last moment and save them, or TK is just not going to be in this episode. So they're still building up to that. This is kind of like the main goal of this current part of the arc. So it's like they're kind of building up to TK's arrival. Again, I assume that's where this is going with the Holy Digimon. So uh, it might happen next episode, but it might even not be for a couple episodes still. They might actually take a little bit of a break from introducing new characters and have us uh, kind of explore the beginnings of this new continent first. Um, we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. The animation, like, there's some points like I've heard people say like the animation could be better, but it's Toei, and people like to shit on Toei and shit. And it's like the animation could be better, maybe at a couple points, but overall, it's damn good. It may not be the best. It's not like Studio Madhouse or shit, but it's still damn good, and it serves its purpose. The story and characters are more important, anyways, and all of that's phenomenal. This is really just like lighting a fire under this franchise in a way never before. They tried to do that with the Digimon Adventure Try movies, and it just didn't work. They didn't like capture the same feeling that people had growing up with this. It just it wasn't the same, and then people kind of lost interest and everything, and it's just kind of it failed. The Digimon Adventure Try movies failed overall to recapture the hype of Digimon, especially of the adventure group. Um, but this is definitely doing it right. It's handling things differently, but at the same time, still giving us the same characters, Digimon, and basic plot beats that we recognize. It's familiar, nostalgic, but also fresh and new. And I think it's a great balance of that. I think that this is really helping it thrive and be amazing. And it really sucks that amongst the anime community, this isn't being talked about that much. Like, really, the only people I've heard talk about the series are the people who are the notable Digimon fans. YouTubers who have actively talked about Digimon in the past. But it's like you get the just general anime crowd, and they're talking about like everything else, like ReZero season two, which fair enough, and I can't wait to react to that as well once I get a slot open for it. Um, I already noted I'd be reacting to that, but fair enough. But and then there's all these other shows. There's that BNA Brand New Animal show, which I do plan to check out on my own time, and so many other things that people are talking about in the anime community. And this one's just like no one's talking about it. I just don't hear anyone talking about it. And it really sucks because it's so good. It's just so damn good. And I'm afraid that if it's not doing so well, if it's not doing so popular, it might not continue on for too long. And I'm afraid that it might end up being canceled or just stop after a certain point. And that would really suck. But to be fair, I don't know how well it's doing in Japan. So and maybe it's just the parts of the anime community that I'm active in, the groups I'm in and stuff that I'm not hearing about it. That's very possible, and I hope that's the case, that this is actually proving to be pretty popular. But I can't say. I honestly can't say. And mind you, I will admit that the pandemic and the fact that this was put on hold for 3 months after episode three, I think it was. Um, the fact that that happened too also probably hurt the series. Let's be honest. Because we had like 3 episodes in the spring season, and then it was put on hold until the fall or until the summer season when it started again. And not even like it was just like because it was put on hold like that, it took away a lot of the interest. And the same kind of thing like happened with like Carol and Tuesday, except with Carol and Tuesday, it was licensed by Netflix, so people couldn't see it as it was aired. People who are um who want to watch it in a more, legal manner. People who wanted to watch it on the platform that has the rights to it and everything, they had to wait because like the series was already like halfway over before any of it was put onto Netflix. And by that point, the interest in it had just died down. Even though it was by Studio Bones, even though it had an amazing director, it's like the interest in it just dwindled, and it never got as popular as it deserved. And I feel like this is going to be the same because of the pandemic. If this had continued to air when it was meant to, it probably would have done a lot better. It probably would be a lot more talked about. But I mean, I can't say for sure. It's hard to say. Because let's be honest, there are people out there still who would still say like stuff like Digimon and Pokemon are still for children, which is a dumb as fuck. It's like just the dumbest of takes. One, any programming that is made specifically for children and only appeals for children should fail. Just by design, should fail. Any program, I mean, unless it's like specifically an educational preschooler program, like, I don't know, something like Dora the Explorer shit. Um, Unless it's something like that. But like an actual kids show that has actual story and character to it. Any show like that that only appeals to children has no right to exist. Any show like that should be able to appeal to anybody. I mean, hell, My Little Pony Friendship with Magic got such a massive audience outside of its targeted demographic because it was a well-made series. Not perfect, but well-made. Despite despite it being targeted towards young girls. Steven Universe, a show that was that was marketed towards kids, had a huge following outside of it, and so many cartoons nowadays do. Something like Digimon isn't inherently a kids anime. Hell, Digimon has always had extremely mature and dark themes, even in the original. And so it's like, it was never like a kids anime. Pokemon more so, but I mean, especially for the dub, which censored quite a bit. I mean, in the original Japanese version, remember, there was an episode where the warden of the Safari Zone pointed a gun at Ash's face. So, yeah. Um, but point is that it's like, these shows aren't necessarily inherently only for kids, and they do appeal to all ages. But so many people out there just automatically see this and like, oh, this is a kid's anime. I'm gonna watch the grown up stuff like I don't know, ReZero, Fate Zero, um, shit like that. Berserk, I guess. I don't know. I haven't actually seen much of Berserk. Um, but that kind of stuff, like the kind of like Neon Genesis Evangelion, the kind of like this the kind of shows that so many anime fans tout as like the pinnacle of anime, the stuff that anyone who calls themselves an anime fan has to have watched and liked. So many people think that kind of bullshit, and it pisses me off, to be honest. But any anime can be for anyone. If you like an anime, like an anime. Just like whatever you like, enjoy whatever you enjoy. And don't try to like separate it by saying like, oh, this is a kid's anime and this is an adult anime. No, fuck that. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna like show something like Hellsing Ultimate or Blood Sea or Elfen Lied to a kid. No, sure, I understand that, but it's still like let people discover anime for themselves and like what they like. Don't try to like segregate it like that. It irritates me. Anyway, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I saw the male person walk up. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. So, tell me your comments. She's almost done. The male person walked off. Tell me your comments down below. Tell me what you thought of this episode of Digimon Adventure 2020, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.